mad time
Yeah.
I was notorious for that.
In the show, like in the episode, the girl, like I think it went off at 5:30, she hit it. Then it went off at 5:45 and she slept through it and he was like, So he took the phone and threw it. And then on the floor, it rang at like 5:55 and she threw her. He just threw her on the floor. But she hit it. She hit it sleeping. She was like...
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not advocating violence.
No, it's a stick figure thing. It's a stick figure thing. It is a stick figure thing.
Man. Listen, welcome back to it, man. I don't know if we're calling this part 2, part 1, but again, you're still watching your DeProgrammed podcast. Yes. I'm Jason Andre Robinson, aka CONQUEST.
And I'm Ari CONQUEST, aka Coach Aparicio.
Yeah, and again, you're back for more of your regularly scheduled
DeProgramming.
Still a little shaky there a little bit.
Yeah, listen, it's the morning. I know I ain't had my tea yet. Y'all judging already? This is DeProgrammed. We don't care.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So listen, this is Attack of the Geek continuation, part 2, the sequel,
Yes.
The Attack of the Clones, whatever you want to do.
Yes, so just so people could understand the cut and what happened. So this is part 2. We ended off with, please remind me of the guy's name that you were talking about. That
I was probably discussing Sail Out the Corner's album, which was Ski Mask Cologne, Right Eye. I was sharing my thoughts on that project and also things that I saw surrounding that project as far as like some banter between, Christian artists. DJ Michael V from Indie Tribe. Again, mad love to DJ Michael V and that squad, big fan. He actually DJ'd for me way back in the day, in the 2010s, when he was a bit more of an unknown, but he was on the come up. So I'm love to see his success. But again, as I always say, man, Indie Tribe, we love what you do. The 99, Gritty CHH, we love what you do. We can coexist. We can all be lyrical together,
yes,
man.
That's where we left off.
Yeah.
Like, if God has something planned for you, you don't have to feel the need to steal anyone's shine or feel like you're not going to get your shine.
Because of it.
Yeah, it's meant for you. So you don't have to compete like that. Like that, the spirit of competition shouldn't come off like jealousy.
Right, yeah, because I think there's a thing called healthy competition.
Yes.
In the sense of like, hey, I come across an artist who I think is dope and they're inspiring me to be at the best of my game.
Yes.
I love that. Iron sharpens iron. And then there's the unhealthy thing that I think they were almost veering into. So I'm glad and I pray that things are working out better. Better music.
So that's where we left off. So you will see brand new outros. Again, we are sprucing up production, so you will see brand new outros. We have so many exciting things that we haven't been able to share with you all yet, but you'll see it in the next coming 2 weeks about what's going on personally with CONQUEST and everything we have in terms of events. You'll see it with...
And Coach Aparicio.
I was going to say, you'll see it with me, with the website finally being finished. First coaching sessions off the ground, first speaking engagements off the ground. Super excited about that.
Super excited about that.
And yeah, it's just been so much. And again, we do this all to show you how much we appreciate you guys, how much we look to upgrade our set, our design, our production, our videography, everything, clarity, quality. Yep.
No,
they're not a sponsor, by the way. If you know Jersey, you know what this cup is, but they are not a sponsor. But yeah, just making sure that you all feel appreciated and loved, and we want to thank you from our hearts for supporting us through this amazing journey. It's been amazing. I mean, even unpredictable, chaotic in the best way, and enlightening and empowering. Like, this is my first time kind of doing stuff like this. CONQUEST brought me into it, as you guys know. Talking, being on camera, the whole social media thing. I'm like, but it's been fun, and I've enjoyed every second of it so far.
Yeah, it's been definitely a highlight.
Doing this with my bestie. Doing it the last year and a half. And we have amazing content for you. So again, please look out for on our social medias, on our Instagrams, on YouTube. We will be pushing promotion, such amazing things coming up, and we hope to meet most of you in person very soon. But I'm not going to spoil anything. Yeah. Stay tuned for the promos on Instagram. So we're tackling part 2?
Yeah,
Attack of the Geek.
Exactly. And speaking of enlightening, surprising, unexpected, things that you just cited just now, that, in my opinion, was all the things I saw when I went to see Sinners.
Your segues are so good.
Yeah.
Guy, I don't understand. He has a artistic genius. I don't get it. Like, this is not scripted. I hope y'all know this is never scripted. This is never scripted. We go in with topics and we just kind of let it flow. I didn't know he was going to do that. But yes, this was
pay attention. It's just like I hear certain things, I pin it in my brain, and I'm like, I'm going to use that to get to.
Speaking of lightning, you know what I'm going to start doing, guys? And I want you guys to put in the chat. Every time you hear Congo say "speaking of," I want you to take a shot. Speaking of, it's like that's our secret transition. I'm finally catching that now. Okay, so speaking of all these things,
yeah.
We went to go see Sinners this weekend.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
So you guys kind of know the laughs. So the last episode to this one, we had a couple days. Some of this stuff, we got so hyped up about our own promos of the shows that we ended up going to see. I ended up seeing 2, but we're going to talk about the first one, which we both went to see. It was Sinners.
Yeah.
And what did you think? What? I mean, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score, I think, of above 90% as well. Critically acclaimed. Movie of the year. Director of the year.
Yeah,
Ryan
everybody from Ben Stiller to Tom Cruise to Spike Lee to everybody and their mama. Jamie Lee Curtis even used their social media to promote the film. The fact that they saw it, like the last post I saw was, I think it was Jamie Lee Curtis who went to see it in IMAX 70mm film.
Yes,
like the way I wanted to see it. And
the way he intended it.
Yeah, the way he intended it. Big screen, big. And I can see that, you know. I low-key might still want to try that, you know. It's a movie worth seeing again. So I guess we're getting into it. I thought Sinners was amazing. I know there's
spoiler warning somewhere here.
Yeah, spoiler alert. I'll try not to give away too much, even though I'm going to talk about it in length, but...
No, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
This is a full-length review. We will send the timestamp of anyone who does not want to be spoiled. Amazing movie. This is our recommendation now. Without spoiling anything, go and see it. You'll love it, especially if you are a horror fan or historical biopic type of fan, timepiece type of fan, period piece. Yeah. Yes. Okay, other than that, we're going to spoil it now. Okay.
Yeah, spoiling away. So I thought the movie was excellent. Shout out to, obviously, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. I believe this is their 4th major film together. Fruitvale Station was 1. Creed movie was 2.
Both Black Panthers. Yeah.
Well, I don't think he was involved in the second one.
No, he wasn't in the second one. Black Panther.
So he did only 1 Creed movie. I think he was an executive producer for the rest of them, but he directed the first Creed, he directed the first Black Panther, he did Fruitvale, and now we have Sinners. I can't think off the top of my head if there was another combination or another collaboration of that nature, but I think it's the 4th, it's safe to say. I avoided as many spoilers as I could. The one thing I realized really quickly is that there were twins involved. I saw that in the promo. I was kind of half mad that I knew that already because I thought that was a major plot line. But then the way they were promoting it, I think it was emphasized that you would know that 2 brothers were involved, that they were identical twin brothers. So I don't think that was the spoiler that I thought it was. Now, the aspect of the brotherhood and how it evolved, that's when we start to reveal things. But overall, Ryan Coogler has this thing, I believe, where he's telling a story within the story. And as I told Ari when I saw it, I thought that he has this way of like using a certain style of movie as a vehicle for the underlying message that he wants to get across. So I feel like Sinners is a vampire movie. It is predominantly that. But I feel like it's a vampire movie in theory to get across the underlying conversations in terms of disparity of wealth, the Jim Crow era, because it happened in Mississippi in the 1930s somethings, right? And matter of fact, the premise of the story is that the brothers stole money from this gangster, from Al Capone, this mob, and they was like, all right, we're gonna flip this money and turn it into a juke joint, you know? And
bug, yeah, and call like the parties,
right? That's how, you know, black folk used to congregate at the time, and you could tell between Smoke and Stack, which are the two twins, that, you know, they're close, but there's definitely differences between them.
Their philosophies of life,
their philosophies are a little different. So,
which was your favorite twin?
Oh, that's a great question that hasn't been asked. I'm gonna lie, man. Stack had me cracking up the whole time. Stack, the way Stack was talking reckless, like Stack. There's a scene where Stack rolls up on a potential employee for the business in the fields, and his wife is there. And it's like, listen, man, I got a money game for you that's going to guarantee you more sex, you know what I'm saying? That's going to guarantee you more things, you know what I'm saying? And just the way he came across is just like, the guy's like, yo, you talk to wild disrespectful about my wife, and the wife is like, yo, just shut up. Let me hear what he's talking about, you know? And he may be right. Just shut up and get to the money. Let's get to the back.
Oh, it's so funny.
Right? So I thought that was a lot.
It was cornbread. So it was cornbread and his wife. Yeah. And they were picking cotton in the field because, again, it's out of Jim Crow. So basic mentality of African Americans are basically portrayed to be they're trying to break those cycles. So that's all they know to do, even when in freedom. They're just still doing the Southern thing of picking cotton, doing their thing, and probably making a business out of it, which is why his whole family was out there. And so Stack comes up, and he's basically the negotiator. And Cornbread and his wife are picking, and he come and he say, oh, I bet you're not getting no oral. I bet you're not getting no such and such. And you could hear in our movie theater, everyone like, oh, like he bold, he has some audacity that some of us want a shot of, like I don't know what it is. So Cornbread like, nah, I'm about to be his A, and his wife is just like, hold on, he talking about money. He right, you're not getting none, and you know that. Like, so she hit like, what you talking, and everyone's just like, oh, it's like that. Like, so
that was the same.
It was so relatable in a way to where it's just like, you know, there's this running stereotype, I guess, of like the more men get paid is the more the woman will put down.
The more they're rewarded sexually.
And if you're taking this as a period piece, this is the start of that stereotype. The start of the stereotype is in the field. It represents northern money
in the field,
mafia money, and it's just like, yo, we know up north, the more you get paid, the more this happens. And Cornbread just like looking back at both of them like,
yo, wow.
What? Like, for real, is that why I don't be getting? That's why we don't get intimate? Like, he take the job.
He took the job.
He took it. He knew he was getting some that night. He took the job. He took the job. Unfortunately, he took the job. Unfortunately, he took the job. Which could be feeding into the whole sin thing too.
Yeah. So, man. The thing is, there's so much to talk about in this movie, and I don't want us to go super long-winded because there's so much. I invite you to go see it. But if I'm to pinpoint the things that I enjoyed the way the whole vampire lore was brought in this case to kind of like feed what Ryan's ultimate message was in terms of like, what was happening during that time, during the Jim Crow era. There's a part where I think the character's name was Remnick, who was the lead vampire in the in the film, and how he, in his attempt to consume everyone who worked at the juke joint or came to the juke joint to get everybody, he was like, you know, come join us, be immortal, be free of racism, be free of slavery, be free of everything that you guys deal with, you know? And it's interesting because here's the thing that I don't think we ever discussed. So Remnick is of Irish descent. In fact, it's a part that shows up in his acting, in his role, when they have a bit of a ritualistic dance outside of the juke joint, right? Now, at the time, Irish people weren't that much, they were revered like pure white people. Mm-hmm. You know? In fact, there's a part where Remnick was being chased down by Native Americans.
Yes, he was.
Right? Now, as I did the study of this, apparently Irish people and Native American people at that time had a kinship and a closeness because they came from similar backgrounds in terms of how they were colonized and how they were brought in. So it's probably true that the origin story of how that happened was that maybe Remnick came in as a ally to the Native Americans, and then they realized, oh, this guy's not one of them. This guy's a vampire.
Where was this?
No, so this was me doing a deeper dive, because I do that, like when I watch a movie, I kind of like get some information behind the scenes as far as like, why did this happen? Why did Native Americans show up? And so in history, it's been shown in that there was a relationship like that. So that makes sense where maybe they were friends at one point, or they welcomed each other into each other's communities, and he was discovered to be this guy or this vampire. And so they were like, oh no, we thought you were like an ally. You're trying to kill us. We're going to run you out and get rid of you because we thought that you were, because you're Irish, an Irish human, that we can contribute together. So that, because, you know, I wasn't expecting to see Native Americans, is what I'm saying. And so when I saw that Native Americans was chasing down Remnick, this Irish guy, I was like, yo, where's the connection? And that's where that comes from as far as the history of that time.
Okay.
So that's where I looked it up, and that's why I saw it. So yeah, but he pretty much used a lot of what was happening socially as manipulation for his tactics to devour and increase the vampire lore within, you know, that period of time in the movie. And then, you know, like when there's a scene where he goes and runs up, getting away from the Native Americans, he runs up on a Ku Klux Klan couple and turns them.
Yeah.
And now
Grand Dragons.
And so
nephew and niece-in-law.
Right. Yeah. So he flips them, and now it's the three of them.
Yeah. And that's the same Grand Dragon that sold the Junebug joint to Smoke and Stack.
And that's where the tie-in comes in.
Literally a butcher. It's a butcher house. That's what Remnick ended up telling them, because vampires have hive minds. So the head vampire gets all the thoughts and the memories of everyone that he converts. Yes. He or she converts. And so he was telling them that it was meant to be a butcher. Beautiful. Yeah, it was meant to be a butcher plot. As like a reimagining of what the plan could be.
Right.
Yeah, and then coming back into power. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then the other thing that I thought was interesting, which is a big high point of the movie, is the music in the movie. Like, there ain't no way we can talk about Sinners and not talk about the music. It's like a character unto itself. And a big high point, to the point where I think the Sinners soundtrack is the #1 album in the country now.
Yeah, I downloaded it soon out of theaters, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on what I thought the movie was for me.
Yeah, sure.
So I had mixed feelings coming out of it.
Yeah.
I can appreciate everything that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan and Haley, and I'm forgetting her name, but she was one of my favorite characters in the movie. Yes, she played Smoke's wife, or estranged wife, because they had the miscarriage. It was one of those things to where I enjoyed every aspect of it. Now, I was being completely honest. If I knew it was a historical piece, I would not have went to go see it. And it's not that I don't appreciate historic pieces like that. It's just that my whole life has been that, and I've often indulged myself in the Jim Crow era, the Civil Rights era, slavery era, transatlantic slave era, the Haiti Revolution era, and just the freedom of all that.
Yeah.
That we didn't realize this until we started talking, that we saw two different trailers. So I didn't realize the trailer I saw, and the only spoiler I got to the movie really was her eating, Haley's character eating Smoke, and coming up with the fangs and saying, we're going to kill every last one of you.
Right.
That's the only thing I saw. So I was just like, this is going to be fantastic because, as you know, I'm a horror fan. So I see vampires, I'm with it.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, oh, this is vampires and Jim Crow. I'm with it even more because that has never happened. And I get there, and you want to tell them which trailer you saw? Because I didn't realize there was 2 different trailers out.
I saw a trailer from way back, which didn't show what she saw. And it just showed Michael B. and a couple of other people just running from something. We didn't see what they were running from, but they were just running, and they were like looking ahead, like what's going on. So I had no idea really. Based on the trailer I saw, I had no idea what Sinners was, except for that it was a period piece, and I thought it was actually another slave movie, to be quite honest with you. I only found out about vampires and all that other stuff through social media. Like, vampires are involved in this movie. Be on the lookout. I didn't see an actual trailer because, honestly, I try to avoid trailers like the plague because I feel like they're giving away too much of the movie half the time. But I did hear that vampires was in it, so that's like, okay. As it got closer to the release date, it was a little bit more fleshed out. I got a greater understanding of what the movie was about. At that point, by the time I was ready to see it, I just wanted to know who was the vampire. What's going on? Like, you know. And so, but how the story manifested for me as I ended up watching it, it mostly wasn't what I expected.
Okay.
I knew vampires was involved. I knew there was going to be talk about what was happening during that time, but the way that it coalesced together.
Yeah. So that was the disconnect for me. So again, I still think it's probably the best movie coming out this year. I wanted to pin a point because you started going into the music, and I just want to give my thoughts on the movie. So the movie itself, again, amazing acting, incredible direction. I mean, I counted at least 3, but there was probably more long shots of just no cuts. And I'm just like, how are you doing that in a party? Especially the long shot of them having the party where he's playing the guitar and all the ancestors come back and the future predecessors. Yeah, it wasn't just ancestral. He brought people from the future and the past. And I'm just like, how did you do that all in one take? That is almost like revolutionary. Like, I don't think I've seen anything like that in any film ever. Yeah, so I'm just sitting here, I'm just like,
coolest things I've ever seen.
Man, this is genius, you know? Genius on the big screen. I'm loving that. I felt I was more so I can use the word disappointed. I was more so disappointed because I think in the climate and stuff that we are right now, I didn't expect this to be so socially relevant. I expected more of a horror movie more than a commentary. And I feel like I kind of got a little blindsided by that because I feel like movies is like my escapism in a way. And I felt like when I saw the trailer, that's what it was going to give me. It was going to give me, like, I'm thinking Walking Dead vibes or something. Like, you know, like Walking Dead takes place down south, but they don't mention anything about race or divide or anything like that. It's just zombies down south. You kind of figure out how to escape and you fall in love with the characters. To me, it was more like commentary on social status, on racism, on economics, on whatever. And
spirituality. That's the one thing that we don't dealing with the occult. You know what I'm saying? Like the divide between the occult and Christianity and all that stuff. All that stuff was a nice little gumbo of things.
Right. And then, but for me, I felt like I wanted more of a presence of the horror.
Yeah.
And I feel like and I don't think this was his intention, but it kind of felt last minute to me. It felt kind of last minute of like how fast the vampires got killed. Like, it felt kind of like rushed towards the end. And I didn't really get why, other than how I felt as a viewer, that it was a commentary piece and a time period piece with vampires thrown in. And I didn't want to feel that, but after dissecting on it and staying a bit more, it kind of feels like that. It doesn't feel like it gives the mythos anything more. Like, and I was explaining Conquest, but me and you were talking about it here. I love the vampire mythos. I love the mythos of Dracula. I love Castlevania. I played all the games. I grew up with those games. I like when people take it, again, Vampire in Brooklyn, Dracula 2000, Fright Night. Like, we can go on and on.
Interview with
the Vampire. It's always been this thing of like the head vampire and him wanting something, but people kind of not understanding why. Like, you're immortal, you can live forever, you're rich, what are you aiming for? Like, what's your goal? And I think in this movie, if I just got a little bit more of the backstory of the main Dracula guy, who is Remnick, if I got more so, like, why does he want family? Like, did he lose someone he loved? Did he think, and he said at the end, when he was baptizing him, he was like, I want to see my family again. And he kept trying to, like, drown the kid, but at the same time, I'm like, well, he's not going to drown him because he needs him to play. So in my head, I'm just like, well, you're not going to kill him. You need him to play so that your people come back. So you're going to torture him. But, again, it was one of those things to me to where I feel like if it was a true vampire movie, that same type of story would have unfolded just in the way that Ryan Coogler does his genius. So it's just like, I didn't feel any sympathy for Remnick. Like, I honestly, and that's not how I like my villains. I like my villains kind of more on the sympathetic side. Like, you can kind of get their motivations as to why, like Killmonger. You can get why he's coming after Chadwick. You can get why he wants the throne. You can get why it's competition and he's a brother, but he's like, yo, your dad killed my dad and I'm not having it. Like, you feel sympathetic at the end because you really don't want him to die either. You're just like, dang, it didn't have to be this way. It was just a huge misunderstanding and he never knew the truth of his story. Ryan Coogler can do it. So to me, it just seemed like another, and I might be a little, I might ruffle some feathers, I guess, but it just seemed another white man evil, black man good type of movie. So just with the vampires in it. And I'm just like, that's not what vampires are. Vampires, like the movie talked about, doesn't care about race. There's a selfish desire of the main vampire and he will use anything he needs to get it. Right. So it's just like, I just felt like in that, they lost me as a sympathetic character. He just came off as a one-note antagonist, trying to get community, trying to convert everyone, and he's a master seducer. So he runs into black people and he gives them all the things that they want to hear. Freedom, no segregation, community, live forever. And it's just like, okay.
So let me ask you this. Earlier we were talking about The Dark Knight, and you had your first experience with Heath Ledger's version of the Joker. Did you find the Joker to be a sympathetic figure?
Yes.
Based on what I saw?
Yes, absolutely. Because he kept talking about his wife. Like, if you know Joker's mythos, you also know why Joker's sympathetic. He's not like this guy who just... In fact, Heath Ledger did an Oscar-worthy performance, but so did the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, where he shows that he is a mental health patient. He went into crazy. He was a normal guy trying to make it, and people bullied him into insanity, basically. So you feel that sympathy.
I feel like you. And
you get in some of the comics too, where you're just like, man, I really do want Joker to win because Batman's acting like a Joker.
Right. I ain't gonna lie, because I feel like in those portrayals, I felt even more sympathetic for Joaquin's Joker than Heath's Joker.
It's true, because Heath came off really like, no, I'm not playing, this is not a joke in the game. And then you just think his crazy is just completely anti-Batman. But he's just like, no, there's no me without you, don't you get it? Like, we're inseparable, we're two sides of the same coin. So you sympathize with Joker through Bruce. Right. Because Bruce is like, yo, I'm tired. I don't want to do this no more. He's like, you're going to keep doing it because I need you. Right. And you're just like, dang, that's a dilemma.
Yeah, I feel like Heath's Joker gave me a level of intrigue, while Joaquin's Joker gave me even greater sympathy and understanding. So at the end when he blacked out, right? So I asked that question because I just wanted to see what your temperature was as far as gauging villains' sympathetic characteristics that lead you in. So
the most intriguing villains to me are always going to be ones that are more dynamic and more layered. Their motivations and tensions. I agree. And I said again, this will be my movie of the year. We will go into the music for, the next couple minutes. But, this is my movie of the year. I don't see anything passing it. It was such an intriguing watch. It was such an experience. Yeah, it was an experience. It was an experience. That's why I said I might ruffle some feathers because everyone's getting a 98. I would knock it down to an 89 for me. Like, it's somewhere in the B range. And it's only because when it came down to the racial commentary and stuff, it just seemed like Redneck was just another bad white guy that black people had to beat. And I'm just like, I get that, but you could have made it way more than that. Like, you could have made it way more than white people being it just seemed like he was just kind of thrown in. And it's just like, why didn't you make the vampire Native American? Like, you could have made it, in that case, if we were talking about no racism, you could have just made it anywhere. You could have made him, well, again, he was Irish, so I guess he wasn't the English white guy, but it's just like you could have made him anything. You know what I mean?
Of European white guys, I might need to catch a beat down. Stay tuned. We're going to get to that later in the episode. I just thought of that when you said that.
I have to laugh. It was your segue. It may be a segue for me, but that's the only thing for me. It would knock it down like a letter grade for me. Yeah. Just because again, I wanted the villain to be more dynamic. I wanted the vampires to be the heart of the show. It doesn't seem like vampires was the heart of the show. This was a Jim Crow movie. Yeah. It was a Jim Crow movie. It was post-slavery. It was what black people had to go through, and then imagining if they had to go through reassimilating to society with the extra act of killing vampires on the side.
Copy.
It's just like, that's a lot. Like, if you're thinking about them having to fight the Klan and vampire, and you're just like, how did y'all make it back?
It really is different. It's really what perspective you're looking for when it comes to this movie. I think it's a really great movie. I'm the type of person that, I agree with Ari in the sense of that, there was a time where I got really sick of these historical think pieces, disguised as movies that really focused on black trauma. Yeah, right? It's not one of those things. I know. I felt more blindsided because I didn't think the trailer I saw did not accurately portray what this movie was. Right. I thought it was just horror. Right. I'm seeing this as a period piece with a hint of horror. That's how I'm seeing it. I get you. I felt kind of blindsided. So it wasn't like, again, if I knew the trailer that you saw, I probably wouldn't go see it. It would look like a because to be honest with you, the trailer I saw didn't really bring me in like that because I thought it was just going to be one of those 12 years a slave. I'm good on those, to be honest. It's like, we get it. We were enslaved. I'm not trying to minimize it, but it's just like there's only so much black trauma that I could watch as entertainment. Like even Will Smith had a slave movie post Oscar slap. Never saw it. I'm good. I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know this, I'm sure there's a part of the story, but I'm just thinking, can we get more of the stories that feel more empowering for black and brown people during that time if there is more? You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just, we retired in and we beat them up. Like Django Unchained. Like I can do it. Like I was off of it, but then when Django came in, I realized what was going on. I was like, I'll watch that. That's cool. That's cool. Let's see that.
But get more of an empowering.
And I felt that way even with this one. I was vibing off that. But speaking of the music of the film, shout out to Miles Caton. I believe that's his name. If I'm pronouncing the Katon or Caton or Miles Caton. I think he's like 20, 21 years old.
Yeah. He was 19 when they started.
Right. Phenomenal musician, great voice. I actually saw an interview with him where he kind of spoke on his process as far as getting into character, like him listening to certain music from that time to adjust his voice and adjust his methodology to get into character for that role. And he did a phenomenal job, sounded way beyond his years, sounded like the time. His acting was great too. And just the music and how it was deployed throughout the film to raise tension, to raise awareness, to switch scenes, the performances on set that were actually live recordings that we witnessed. Great job. Shout out to this guy. His name is Ludwig. I am not even going to try and pronounce his last name. He's Swedish. He is 38 I think he's late 30s. Him and his wife, they're grand musicians. Ludwig grew up with blues music in his home. It's white guy. He's Swedish, right? That's as white as it gets, right?
And Nordic vibes.
That's Nordic. It's Viking vibes. But apparently his pops played a lot of blues music in the home. Like Ludwig is an accomplished musician. I have his proper name in the captions.
It just speaks to music being universal.
Yeah, and he, his father saw the buddy guys who appears in the movie. The legendary buddy guy was in the movie. He saw these people. So Ludwig himself has become a phenomenal musician and original score composer, so that he was able to work on the soundtracks for Tenet. He was able to work on Oppenheimer. He did work on Black Panther. He did all this white dude from Sweden, and he was able to now flip and go into this bag here. And again, I think the music providing a new character.
It's ironic too, actually.
It is.
Yeah, it's ironic.
It is. It's like, wait, it's him?
Yeah, because we associate blues with authentic black Southern grassroots music, and they're playing in Sweden.
Yeah,
and they're creating composers that are legendary. If you do not understand the movies that Conquest just listed, those are Oscar-nominated movies. Those are movies that have set the tone, won the Oscars. The actors have won the. They are phenomenal films.
And they're different sounds.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
It's not like all blues
and
music.
And it's what, like him running through time or something like that, or whatever the case may be. Like Inception, and then Oppenheimer is talking about the invention of the nuke.
Yeah.
And the sciences behind it. And it's just like, different soundtracks, different themes. One is a biopic, the other one is fantasy, the other one is horror now. So it's like,
the other one's Marvel. He did Black Panther too.
He did Black Panther, so that's superhero fiction, sci-fi.
White guy from Sweden. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's really, really like intriguing you. Like, dang, like that's a white guy from Sweden. We don't. It's amazing what this podcast is, because it brings perspective. I don't ever think music to be a race. Like, it doesn't surprise me when white people can play banjos and blues.
No, but that's the reason why I'm emphasizing it. Because the simple fact is like, if you are true to the music and true to how you grew up and how you were raised, you can create anything and it be authentic. Yeah. So because somebody might say the white guy from Sweden ain't do that. Yes, he did. And this is his blueprint. And this is his resume. It's no different from Eminem rapping the way he does, because he's, who looks like, the white boy doing that. That kid is killing. Because he grew up in an environment that isn't quantified by just country music or the things that are associated with quote unquote whiteness, So,
but I think that's more so a bombshell for black people.
Yes.
And I think that the less we are in these tribal mindsets is the more powerful these things will get. Like, music never had a race of people. I'm pretty sure jazz and blues and those thematic things, when we go back to history, this is exactly what the movie was emphasizing. That, not only did Europe have vampires, Native Americans had their version, and black people had their version, and Russians had their version, and everyone had their version of what this demon was. And we all call it different things, but it's the same demon. Like, it's the same thing. It sounds like that with music. It's like, maybe it's not blues in Sweden, maybe it's called something else, but when he came over here, they were just like, yo, you play the blues, brother? It's like, damn, white. Like, you're calling me brother? That must be kinship. Like, okay. So it's the same way how when they came up to the June bug, remember he was like, oh no, we just want to play my African brother. I can't remember my African brothers.
And they wasn't getting shunned away because it was them. They was just off.
Yeah, they was
I don't care. You black, you can look like me. You look you can look Chinese or Asian, but you look off.
Like the living dead.
You can't come to the cookout, my brother. My brother. You can't do the cookout with us. You know what I'm saying? My brother.
It's so true.
It's so true.
But just emphasizing on your point of Miles Keaton, and that was more a surprise to me as well. I could not believe that the voice of this man was a 19-year-old guy when he started. When they filmed, he was 19. Haley said it in an interview. Man, when you talk about an old voice and a young body, an old soul, his voice gave me chills. I remember my boyfriend looking over at me like, all right, calm down. I'm just like, no, his voice is sweet. You know what I mean? It's a sweet. All right. I'm just like, it's true. And then, I have to balance it off. So when the, I can't remember Remnick's, the nephew, the niece-in-law, when she started singing, I was like, oh, her voice is sweet too.
Yeah, balance it off. Yeah, she hot. Yeah, they all hot.
Mother come running or something like that. And I'm just like, I didn't say that. All you see is like, cool him down. He's like, what I gotta do? What I gotta do?
Sing, brother, sing. Take some voice left. That's all. Shout out to Henry, my man.
Nah, he's perfect, man. He's perfect. But I was just like, man, I just can't believe this dude gave me chills from every time he sang. I was just like, you can't be that young. That was more flabbergasted to me than the cast.
Was crazy. I'm
just like,
I was talking to the old girl. Swagger.
And sometimes I don't even know if people think maybe in like how you say bloopers or something on the DVD cut or Blu-ray. he broke his accent a couple times. Like, he went and said deep soldier. I'm just like, you're not supposed to be that guy right now. You're supposed to be a 19-year-old, you know, what they say, fish out of water, trying to be cool with your cousins. And you're supposed to be like light and southerny. But when he was talking to her, and a couple times when he was even talking to Smoke, he was like, well, I ain't want that. I was like, that's the singing voice. That is not supposed to be.
No, I think that's his character. Here's the thing, because you know, Miles was like, "Yo, listen, I'm trying to be with y'all."
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's like, I'm trying to be with y'all. He's like, "Yo, man, you better go home. I will shoot you in your face. Like, stop playing with me." And it's like,
he's like, go to the body where all the good people are. He's like, all the good people.
You just stood there, like.
It's true, but he carried that and keeping it in tone with the music. The music was, I believe, and people could theorize this, but my theory is that the music was the main character. Everything was centered around the music. It was about the person who can deliver it the best, who had the power of harnessing all these supernatural gifts with it, and then it had such a great ending or wrap up because music was in us. And I think the thing that Ryan's trying to express is that even with all the evil we know it attracts, it's something we can't leave.
Yes.
Because it's innately in us. And like he said at the end, even though all that stuff came to me, it was still the best day of my life. You know? And that, I think that was meant to
he was a man. It started with him and ended with him. You know, so
yes. And I know there's some theories going around that that's not actually him. I heard some theories. I heard people trying to break through the fourth wall and stuff like that. But let's just take that on that is him at the end. Like you said, that's full circle. It's just like, man, you have the scratches on your face that showed you dealt with Dracula. And you sitting here with the same guitar that attracted Dracula? The same one? And then, what's his name? And Haley come back from the past, or they, you know, they're immortal, so they come back to see him. And he's like, yeah, my brother promised me not to ever touch you and never harm you. So he has like a ring of protection around him. And he's like, do you still have it? And he's like, yeah. And he was like, yo, for me too, and that's someone who lived immortally, he's like, yo, that was also the best night of my life.
Crazy.
So like a demon and an angel basically saying, hey, listen, that one time we clashed was still the best night we ever had. That's incredible to me, and that goes to show the power and the influence of music. Yes, it has great power for good, but it can also be used for bad, and it can be used for influencing bad things. And it just goes it goes into how spiritual that is, how music is in everybody. And when you have these gifts and you're born with it and you know you have it, you can't get rid of it, which side do you choose?
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that's great.
Super powerful, man.
Music, the soundtrack being number one. Oh yeah, I came out that movie theater and I downloaded it immediately. I downloaded all the tracks. I was like, babe, this is gonna win soundtrack of the year.
Yeah.
The music is the character. The music is the movie. Like, so yeah, it was. Yeah,
I think it's a song called "I Lied to You." That's the song that he performed when the ancestral action.
Yes,
and the futuristic things that happened.
Do you remember that run that he did when he pointed at the sky and it turned into the chord of I think the violin or something, and the transition was so flawless. I was like, yo, how long? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know when it started. Like, I don't know when his voice stopped and when the string was going.
I don't know when it began.
Yeah, and I thought it was his breath control. So I'm listening as I was like, okay, he gonna take a breath or he gonna stop, and it goes straight into like, and then it comes down again. I'm just like, oh, they transitioned that. Yeah, it was really something remarkable. It really was.
Go see Sinners, y'all. Go see Sinners. It's out right now.
Don't say it so blunt like that, but
go see Sinners.
Sinners is an amazing movie. Amazing. There's a lot of themes, thematics. Recommendation, okay? Just so y'all know, it is a period piece movie. It's a horror movie. More on the Jim Crow than the horror, but if you appreciate. And we actually had this talk too. There was a time where I thought it was actually a musical as well. That's how much music is in it. So if you like musical theater, if you like period pieces, then that is definitely the movie you'll see. It's incredible. If you like horror, it probably won't scratch an itch, but it has it in there, so you'll still be pleasantly surprised. But yeah, man, there's a reason why it's getting the high ratings. I think it's because it's just art. When you go, you just see art.
Yeah, for sure.
You see art on screen, and go see it in theaters. Do not miss this out and watch it at home. Definitely go buy the ticket, have the surround sound, because this is I would argue that it's probably a musical before anything else. You want to hear all the bass, all the trembles, all the strings, all the riffs. You want to feel all that. So yeah, go see Sinners, guys. The ratings are not lying. It's a good movie. It's a great movie.
Fantastic, for sure. Before we switch gears, there was one other movie that I haven't seen yet, but you've seen. So I need a brief but detailed, but not so detailed because I didn't see it.
For you. So we're gonna say and then be joking. Like no, it's no. I promise I won't spoil it. So in part one, we talked about the Thunderbolts, and I also went to go see the Thunderbolts this weekend. Marvel has been on a type of rough path the last couple years, especially with their movies. People saying it's formulaic. You know what I mean? People saying it's
There was a stack. Cut
that y'all. We gonna cut that y'all now. They lost.
No, we gonna keep that y'all because some of them joints are just kind of light. I ain't gonna lie. Like
it lost a little bit of it. It was formulaic. It was a lot of money grab talk. There was a lot of like no one's putting in the creativity anymore for properties that mean so much to so many people.
It's like once Avengers Endgame came out.
Yeah, there was some stuff on there. Like Loki again is one of my favorite series that they ever dropped.
No Way Home was great.
No Way Home was incredible.
But overall, the
vibe
wasn't.
Yes, it seemed like they kind of lost direction. Then the whole thing with Jonathan Majors happened, so they lost their main antagonist. Which again, despite all the charges and everything he went through, Jonathan Majors as Kang is still a irreplaceable character. He would have did amazing. He did amazing for the things that he did in that character. But as we know, they're transitioning from that with Doomsday. So I went to go see Thunderbolts, and it's a soft. The way I would say is a soft return to form. So it definitely has, I would say, the formulaic Marvel thing is like they try to keep the humor in there to kind of keep it light and stuff like that. It's not as dark as what DC was when they was doing all the Superman movies and Batman movies or whatever. But it definitely has heart, which I think Marvel was losing for a long time. And it has like this sense of stake, which I also didn't think that Marvel had for a really long time. Like usually it's just like the bad guy's gonna lose. It's the power of love and friendship and and they tap on that, but it's a little deeper. And I think this also goes into what is currently happening in the world now with mental health. So they comment on that really heavy. And the main character, this is what I meant by I love the main villain of this movie more than Sinners. He is completely sympathetic, like especially if you're in, again, life coach. I'm in the mental health space, so I deal with these people all the time. And it's hitting on how deep and dark depression can get, and how there might not be a way back from it. And I think it's the more serious tone that I was actually not expecting a Marvel movie to go into. And I'm just like, but y'all getting kind of... It's fantasy, but you're playing with something where people really describe depression as darkness. They describe depression as how do you feel when there's just a void and it's like a black hole. And you're not escaping it. You know it's not. It's inevitable. And it's just like, that right there takes this movie completely out of the realm where Marvel was missing it. And it completely, for me, takes it to a place where Marvel is coming back. Because they're touching on the things that actually made these movies relatable in the first place. When you think about Avengers and you think about, what is it? What was it called? Avengers, when Endgame and Infinity War, right? Yeah. When you're looking at all these themes, you're looking at, wow, like the world's about to be finished. This guy's coming in, but Thanos was also sympathetic. He really believes that he's saving the world. Like he thinks he's a good guy. Yep. And he thinks all these people that we think is a good guy is a bad guy. And he's like, no, think about world hunger. Think about such and such and such. And when you know the context behind it, which is the comic books, you know that Thanos was like, I think he was like a Superman of his planet. So he's like the last survivor. He was like beaten up as a kid. Like, so he was bullied into this mentality of like, I grew up with this my whole life. Y'all fight over stuff that we know is finite. Why not just blip half the planet and let survival of the fittest kind of take in? And in the comics, I think he married death. Or he was trying to impress death. That's what he was trying to do in the comics, I think. So, he basically was trying to take away half the universe to impress death with the count and marry her. Crazy stuff, I know. But this is where Marvel went for me, where it's just like, again, without giving too much, people who've seen it, you'll appreciate the way I'm hinting into it for him. But depression is the main theme of this movie. It's how to deal with it. It's like, how would you rather deal with it? Would you rather deal with it alone or with someone? And it just gives you these questions to where, like, again, you would never think a Marvel movie would hit on this.
Right.
But it does it in a way that is comic book. So it's just like, you don't feel like you're out of a comic book movie either. Like, the superpowers are adjusted around depression.
Yeah, I think that, you know, to your point, like, I've definitely seen those more stickier, not so clean themes hit upon in Marvel movies, like Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
With the thing between Stark and Rogers, right? And then
with him protecting his friends,
right, all
his parents,
and even just the opening scene of Infinity War with the whole, like, some incredible acting and just a lot of stories in there where the stakes are super high.
Hold on, okay?
And you're touching upon certain things. So I think it was super solid.
You will like it.
I know.
If you are a Marvel fan, I would suggest you go to see it. Now, there's this guy I watched from when I was like a kid. His name is Jeremy Johns, and he has his ranking of like, I can go to movies, no alcohol required, meaning you don't have to get drunk to see it. And then there's like, it's a good time, no alcohol required. Thunderbolts is something you could wait to watch on DVD. It's not something you have to go to the movie theater to see. But I do recommend you see it, no matter how you digest it. I wouldn't say it's a miss.
For sure. Listen, the two movies I need to see within the next couple of weeks prior to Mission Impossible dropping is Thunderbolts and Accountant 2. I didn't realize
The Accountant 2. We talked about it in the part 1, but yes. That'll probably be the next one. Listen, Henry will come and give me a day off and I'll run there because I know for a fact you ain't gonna watch that movie. You're gonna be like, what is this? So, babe, I gotta go see Accountant 2. Let's make it happen.
Right. So, I know I hinted to some white guy getting demonized when we're talking sinners. And this is a little off topic. But, you know, one thing...
We're going to cut this up. It's going to make sense.
One thing Ari is a geek for is pretty much, you know, the state of the world and seeing how things happen, especially in the political realm and stuff like that. She may not necessarily like it in her Marvel movies or in her movie. She may not like it in surplus in a movie like Sinners, you know, because sometimes we all need escapism. But when it comes to just kind of like studying these things, I know Ari's a pro at that, right? And so, sidebar, I came across a Shade Room clip on my phone, and I'm just seeing Mark Lamont Hill going crazy, right?
Yeah.
And to set it up, and I'm sure Ari can set it up better because you saw the whole thing. So apparently, Piers Morgan, who has Piers Morgan Uncensored, he was during one of it's so funny.
The panelists.
One of the panelists, the white panelists, and that guy, that other guy was out there too. Byron. Yeah, he was
from
there.
Fresh and Fit. Oh, Lord, this guy.
I was like, oh, he there too? Okay, got it. So
yeah, DJ Academics of the bread pill. He really gets for real. Yes.
So Piers Morgan was daring that woman, whoever her name is. I don't have it. Ari will. And
no, I actually don't, but I know it's like Lila, something like that.
I was there and say, oh, you have freedom to say whatever you want. Well, say the N-word right now. Say it. Say the N-word. Go for it. Now, I know what Piers was trying to do.
I will give you context of all this, but you are going off on a great reel.
Piers was trying to get homegirl canceled. She was just like, step into the fire. You know? Mark was like, oh, hell no. Mark lost it. Mark was like, no, not while I'm sitting here or while I'm in this panel. Like, you know, you're not going to allow this woman to say something that's attacking me and vilifies and is vilifying and has been hurtful to my race for this long time. You're not going to give this woman a platform while I'm sitting here and this fake Ku Klux Klan guy is on the side or whatever he said about Byron. It's just crazy. And Piers was like,
I understand.
Okay. I got it.
You know when you're right.
Away from that right now. You know what I'm saying? Because he lost his mind. Yeah, Mark lost his mind, but I saw what Pierce was doing. I don't know. I get the intention. Not so much a fan of the tactic, but I get where Pierce was trying to get homegirl.
And I understand that because that clip is short, so I'll give you the context for him.
Cancel, yeah. So I saw that. So please add on to that. I just shared.
So the interview is around like 43 minutes long. It's on Pierce's channel, and basically they're discussing this viral story of this white woman, and it's a racist story, so I have to give race apologies for anyone that this triggers, but it's a white woman who's in a park. You don't see what the black kid has done, but he's a 5-year-old black kid. They're in the park. She's in the park with her kid that she's holding. I don't know if there's any more children involved. And she basically starts calling this 5-year-old the N-word.
Right.
And saying that he's behaving like an N-word. And
he's 5. 5-year-old behaving like an N-word.
It comes out that he's not only 5 years old, he's autistic. So, and apparently the story is that he was like either curious about the bag or he was going in, which again, mother of autistic children.
Who's 5?
Who's 5. My kids are older. They do have more of an innocent curiosity. They're not looking to do anything intentional with anything they're doing. But that's any kid, right? Like, we're not just going to start putting adult intention on children. If a kid is looking at something in your bag, it's probably because he finds it interesting. Not that he looks to steal from it and make your kid cry. Like, that's not the intention of kids. So it's the intention we try to put on them, but I'm digressing. So this is what she does. She portrays him as this N-word. She keeps saying, oh, you're acting like an N-word. You are an N-word. And I believe it's the father starts filming her. And obviously the father's black. And he's like, yo, what's up with you? Like, you're calling a 5-year-old the N-word. And she's like, because he's acting like one. And she's holding her white kid in her arms. And he's like, okay, so you're so brazen to call him the N-word, call me the N-word. She's like, fine then, F you too, N-word. And this is a hard ER, like going in, this hard ER. So again, sorry for anyone I'm triggering on both sides, because Conquest knows I kind of left that whole race card thing alone like a little while ago. But that's the story. It's a racist story. So Piers Morgan and them talk about this. So they have on the panel Byron from Fresh and Fit. They have Mark Lamont. They have this woman who was advocating for the white woman in the clip. And then they have this woman named Ashley who was basically talking about like, yo, you guys are insane. Like, if we can't just call this for what it is. And the episode is basically comparing, which I don't know why Piers did this, but he's comparing Carmelo Anthony to this incident. And they're basically saying, there is some common ground there. They're basically saying like both of these things turn into a racist virality where it's just like everyone on their both sides are feeling like they're justified in backing white or black.
Right.
But when it comes to this, to your crash out, the reason why Pierce asked the woman to say it is because in the earlier part, which you don't see when she's introducing herself, she calls herself a racist.
No.
She calls it, like she literally says like, yeah, call me whatever you want. Yeah, I'm a racist. And she proudly says it. And Pierce throughout the whole interview saying, yo, you're disgusting. Like, you're a disgusting human being. You're disgusting. Da-da-da-da. And he's going off on her. So at the end, he challenges her because
he basically... carpet. It's like, hey, you already said you were a racist. Yeah, this should be light work for you.
So the whole crash out with Mark, I also think that was very sensitive for him. If he wanted to see if she was really about it, I would let her say it. That's me. Because if you're going to be about it, be about it. Don't say because you think it's funny or this, that, and the third. It's like, nah, paint yourself where it is, because you're saying that you back this woman, you back what she said to the little boy, you back her stance, you back the tribalism, us going back into black and white, and I don't know why, because none of us would be here if our ancestors thought anything like this on both sides. So now you have us going back into tribalism, back into racial divides, and you're saying you're proudly racist and you're proudly supporting this woman. So Pierce was like, okay, so say it right now. Since you back what she's saying, I'm going to hold you there. And Mark loses it. And that's when you get the virality. Don't you dare allow her on our platform to say that word to me. And he's like, you know, right? You know, Mark, I'm right. You're right.
Right.
But it was Pierce basically trying to tell her, hey, listen, even though you might be okay calling yourself a race and calling this and a third, you're not going to do nothing stupid.
You're not.
Because that's stupid. And he basically proved it, because when I don't know if the clip showed the whole thing, but he told her to say it a couple times, and she looked at the camera and laughed.
Yeah.
And she knows she's not going to do nothing dumb. Like, she knows. You can call her all you want.
She knows where the bread is buttered. You know what I'm saying? She knows what lines and not to. Ain't that much freedom of speech in the world.
But this is what she was arguing as well. She was like, it's not really freedom of speech because. So can we get into the commentary about this?
Yeah,
we can stretch this like an hour and a half, right? All right. So that's the context. So what do you think here in the context of it? So Pierce was not trying to egg anyone on or trying to trigger Mark. Like, I'm actually surprised Mark got triggered that way. Because you would think as much as he advocates for this, you would want to know the people who are obviously your enemy. Like, it's just like, oh, there is no convincing you that even if I'm educated or even if I have a good paying job or I'm a family man, that I'm not a nigger. And yes, I'm saying it for the content of the show, guys, so we'll edit it and bleep it out. But I think it's important to say this word so that people hear it. She's calling people nigger. We're going to get into what that word means because I really feel like people are playing
that's why ignorance
in this.
That's why I was trying to go.
But yes.
So listen,
that's the whole concept.
When I saw the clip, it reminded me of a conversation we literally had not even 24 hours prior about the whole obsession with black people and the N-word. And it's just one of those things, again, I know that we've co-opted it, just like women have co-opted the B word in a lot of cases.
Please say it. Well, I'll say it. There's a couple words in this thing where it's just like...
Slut, all these things.
Yeah.
Slut walk, right? They've co-opted a lot of things. Yeah. So Mark's reaction is... When I saw in the comments, I saw a lot of comments on Shade Room where it was like, man, Mark may have overreacted. And then there was other comments where it was like, yeah, this is the desired reaction of that towards that word, and especially it being said by a white woman or anybody white. I just find it interesting that this buck only stops there. This is a word that has existed for God knows how long, and it's still upsetting. And when it's still upsetting based on pronunciation and context, right? Yes. It is upsetting based on pronunciation and context, right? If your boy is like, yo, what up, my man? Everything is good. Another person says it, I want to choke you out on the panel, and you're disrespecting me and you're threatening my life and my safety by the mere utterance of another pronunciation of this word. I'm not going to stay too long on this because I know Ari can break down this even further, but I don't really truthfully, I don't have really much more to say. All I'm saying is like, yo, what's good for the goose?
After she said the N-word, she went on a GoFundMe site, and to this day has raised more than $600,000. So that's the whole context of it. So I apologize if I didn't get that in until right now.
So this is the larger argument that I'm gonna wrap up with. A lot of the things that are injustices to quote unquote black and brown people, we often co-opt and use against each other, ourselves. I remember a Kendrick Lamar record known as Black of the Berry. And I remember, it's one of my favorite records for me. It might be a top 3 record for me. It's off To Pimp a Butterfly. And I love that record. And I remember Kendrick getting flack for that song initially when it dropped because he was pointing the finger at himself. It's like, yo, I'm responsible. I'm taking responsibility for half of the shenanigans that's happening there. And black people didn't like that. And my thing is that maybe we need to take more ownership accountability for a lot of the things that we hate happening or coming from other races of people. We need to do that more. I know there was a time when it was like, well, we can't do that as much because it's institutional racism. But we in 2025, yo. We're in 2025. And I feel like we should be at such of an evolution as a people that just certain things, no good. It's no good anymore. Listen, I don't hear too many gay people, and granted, I'm not around that community that much if at all, but I don't really hear too many gay people referring to themselves, even in fun, the F word. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't see they dapping them up.
They banned it.
They effectively took that off the slate.
Yep. It will have to be bleeped, but I wanted to say it so that it can be bleeped by YouTube. They have made it a censored word. You cannot say it.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but I think same with the too, because that's ableism.
Right.
Or that's being ableist.
Think of so many of these examples. These words are no good.
Right.
It's like,
but you don't hear an ableist going around. Halo, what's up, my?
Even words like spaz. Yo, I'm spazzing on this track. No. You'll catch a fine. Why do we not do that with the N-word? It's so easy. Everybody else has done it.
Comparing it not to.
So when I saw that outburst, I was just like, yeah, I get the outrage, but it's selective outrage.
It's selective, and I think that's a perfect word. I think you made an excellent point. I love hearing our brothers and sisters talk about this because I feel like there is a huge lack of accountability when it comes to this type of issue. Yes, be outraged that a white person used that word, but be just as outraged when your brother uses it to you. Be just as outraged when a sister calls another sister. That should be just as bad, if not worse, because we're basically saying we can do it, but not you. Now, let me just put some context in here as being a historical geek, right? Since Attack of the Geek, the geek went both ways. So we talked about comics. Now my geeking is politics and history.
Mm-hmm.
White people. The reason why you can't use the N-word is because there was not, and this is the argument she used, and that's why I said, I don't know if people were coming out of school thinking this. I don't know if people were just around their echo chambers thinking this. She said, well, black people could use cracker all the time. So that was her argument. Her argument was that, well, when people say we get fired, we lose our housing, we lose our loans, the woman is in threat of losing her children. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, I don't get it. Because black people could say snowflake and white people. The reason why.
You better because he was using the word snow bunny?
Snow bunny. Yo, she was going off. She was saying all this stuff. And you know what's funny? It's not censored. She could say snowflake and Pierce will let it run. She tries to say the N-word on Pierce Morgan's show. It would have been a long beep. In fact, there's going to be a couple beeps in this episode. And it's our podcast. So even like she said, freedom of speech. Freedom of speech comes with the caveat of you not causing any type of harm or having to prove that your intent was not to cause harm to anyone else. Once you are doing that, you are infringing on someone else's right to defend themselves. The thing, the reason why will never equate to that, snowflake will never equate to that. Is there any other white things I'm missing? Snowball, snow bunny, sunlight. I don't know. Is there anything else that's white? Paper.
Wigger.
None of these things will ever match up. And this is I feel like it's common sense at this point. Show me one legal document where you are not allowed to go into a store. They say crackers are not allowed. Mm-hmm. Snowflakes are not allowed to learn at this school. Mm-hmm. Snowflakes are not allowed to buy from here. Mm-hmm.
Snow bunnies can't contradict
paper people are not allowed to engage in this party. Sinners is a great commentary job. We're going to full circle this. Mm-hmm. Those white people were coming to raid their party. Even they didn't think they could be kept out. Mm-hmm. There was never a thing. It's their party. Could they not have said no whites allowed? Mm-hmm. They could have. They actually entertained they entertained the idea. Mm-hmm. Especially when they heard them playing, they were just like, oh, they actually kind of good.
Haley Stansfield's
some of the black people was literally saying, oh, wait a minute. But they really good though.
Yeah, Haley Stansfield's character, Mary, was dealing with those.
With the biracial issues and her being half white, half black. Yep. And the reason why it will never, just so you guys can have a clear point, there was never a system that denounced you your right, that took away your liberties, that took away your human right. When we say no matter what race, gender, creed, religion, sex you are, every human deserves this right. There was never a time where a word for white people stopped that from happening. Mm-hmm. Ever. They put Negro as a subhuman class. It was humans and then it was the Negro. Oh, feed the Negro. Make sure the Negro's happy. Make sure the Negro knows that he can aspire to something even though he can't. It was taught like class as a whole subset of human. White people never had it. And I'm not going to say white people generally. Here in America, American history never had a white group. I think the closest they got to was Italians. Yeah. And Italians get that because when Italians,
Irish, these people.
Yes, Italians was taken over by Hannibal, I believe, if I'm remembering the history. So Italians are seen as the mutts of white. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because black people took them over.
Right.
So they're like half-blood. So the pure white people don't respect the Italians. And I'm just like, cool. So when the Italians came over, y'all was segregated too. Then Asians, y'all was called. Mm-hmm. You don't ever see another Chinese person, hey, what's up, my But they was called in the newspaper. Mm-hmm. Nobody had the legal ramifications.
Asian in the audience, let me know what the slang is that y'all use for each other.
Listen, we know it's not because it was something that the white people gave them to make fun of them for the eyes that they had. Mm-hmm. No matter what change, no matter what Italian word you're using, I don't know what they used to call them to be derogatory. Change was Chinese. The Negro was the only derogatory term when it came to subhuman treatment. And it's in legal we're talking about Constitution, we're talking about founding papers, we're talking about how presidents used to talk about black people. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about. So no, cracker is never going to be as offensive. I'm sorry that y'all wait. Y'all can't have to wait. That's why the white people who actually made the change, the white people I'm not talking when I'm addressing the people who think is equivalent. Mm-hmm. This is why the white people who really helped make a change in this country also knew that. Mm-hmm. They knew they had to make right. Because as a human, you know that. You put this label on these people. You called them the Negro. And you made them animals. You equated them to a cow, to a chicken, to a pig. They could be slaughtered when you want them. When they're inconvenient, you can ditch them. That is how you treated us. So there is nothing there that is saying that that's empowering in any way. There's nothing saying that, oh, take the Negro and take it back, which is coming back to the accountability of black people. Mm-hmm. We are the only race that I have seen to where a word that was used to hurt us so bad, treat us inhumanely, betray our families, betray our human right in our existence, sit here and say what all the ego of black people is, you're going to take this word back. No, you're not. You're never going to take it back. Dish it. You even give it to yourself. They call us I think the rumor is that they call us they thought we all came from the Niger.
Yeah.
And that's how they pronounce Niger. They could pronounce it the people.
Right.
You never gave yourself that word. I'm pretty sure anyone coming from Niger would have looked at those white people like no, that's not how you pronounce it. Mm-hmm. But we don't speak English, so we can't tell you it's wrong. Right. And it don't have two G's, have one. So it's like you're not even reading it right. But it's we were not educated in English. We were not educated in English. We did not give ourselves that word. Why are we using it for our people? What is the calling of us saying we're empowering our people through this? We're not. This is the thing, like you said, selective outrage. If you don't want other people to do it, ban it. Stop putting it in your music. Conquest knows this for me personally. I don't use it here. When I get mad, and this is like a personal antidote, so I'll condense it. I was around some of the most extreme black groups you could ever be. I was with the Hebrew Israelites a part of my life. Mm-hmm. I was with the Pan-African movement. What I can tell anyone from my personal story is that whenever you get into groups like that, there is an extremity that if you don't have humanity, they'll take you. Mm-hmm. These people really believe in killing off white people. These people really believe that white people are the crux of all evil on earth, mm-hmm. and all this other type of stuff, which mm-hmm. from our history, I get it. But even you were not the change that your ancestors were to make you here. Right. The only reason why you can say stuff like that is because some ancestor in your past saw that they had to treat their enemy as human too. There is no way you come with that freedom and think you're going to now kill off everything they've done. What is that? And I know these mentalities because I've been a part of it. I've dated it, children with it. Mm-hmm. The same way it happens to where if you don't have humanity as a crux, it will take you there. You will really believe you got to kill off all white people. You will really believe that there is no change. You will really believe that there is some systematic white person in charge to where you can't make your first million. You will really believe this stuff. Like it will take you like religion take people. It will take you like class. And you will sit here and thank these mentors that by the time you stab your first white person, or white people is for you too, when you stab your first black person, or when the police shoot and initiate a black guy by shooting them, you really think you're a part of something bigger. No, you are the downfall of humanity. You are humanity going backwards. We've been past that. That's why America is leading in freedom. That's why we are leading in diversity.
Right.
We are past that era. You guys are holding on to something that no longer exists. Black people ditch the N-word. It's never done anything for you. In fact, we know this because when black people get mad, don't they use it the same way? They just yell it more. They say F in front of it. F I can't stand you, my like it's the GA. So you have to think of like tone, like you said, like
tone, context.
Did you yell at me? Did you? What's up, my? Like even sometimes when you don't classify yourself as a, you hear like what's up, my? You kind of look at someone like
it's a threat.
Yeah, you're like,
yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying?
Are you coming through my? Yeah, but we're not gonna be talking like that. Like I'm coming through, but that's not. It's all like you could see. It's like
what? It's all threatening.
Yes, we can laugh. And this is what white people say. Well, y'all laughing at it. You know why? Because I've heard every way. I've heard ER, I heard monkey, I heard black, I heard woman, I heard breast. I didn't know there was a breast. And I was just like, okay, it's a mistress. I'm just like, okay. Yo, you can't make this stuff up. I've heard it in so many ways, but again, I know how I look. I know how people are going to associate me. I have to tell other people that is not how I associate. I don't associate me, and I don't. Conquest could ask you, or you can ask him personally. How I come to y'all is how I come in life. There is no way. I don't allow around me with my brothers, and I don't allow around with my sisters. There is nothing you can do to make that word powerful for you. Nothing. You didn't give it to yourself. Can you imagine black people giving other black women bitch? That wasn't given to you by us. We never called our sisters ever. So white people start doing it. You take the power back, and then all of a sudden you're like, that's my.
You have an obsession with adopting terms that certain people can't say.
Okay, so this is my theory. Ready? This comes back to accountability of black people. I have heard many of black men and women, I mean growing up, why do you use this word? You know like 90% of the response was, it's too hard to change it. It's too hard to change my vernacular. It's ingrained in me. When I get mad, I just kind of blurt it out. So to me, I'm going to tell you what that means now at 31. Laziness. Because you can not stop yourself from saying, I bet you never curse in front of your boss. But you curse all the time with your homies. Mm-hmm. So how is it now that you can select when that is not okay for you to use? You would think that if it meant that worse to you, that if someone just, let's just say a white person just made a mistake. Because you know, the white people hang out with black people too. They be like, oh, they can sing their songs. And they be like, Mom. And they'll yell it out.
Everybody mad.
Right. Wouldn't you start to disassociate yourself with that if you know it's a trigger? Wouldn't you be like, yo, not only am I not going to want to hear it from other people, but if other people don't hear me saying it, they're going to know not to say it around me. Most of my friend circle know not to use bitch around me because I don't call them that. So it completely takes the word out of their vocabulary too by osmosis. I don't call my brothers. So I'm not going to expect for someone else to be like, yo, somebody, it'd be like, huh?
Nobody in my circle does that. Nobody uses that word.
Because it's something that is a discipline. Yes, we grew up in an environment where it was very profound and it was in every song and it was and we're going to take it back like Ice Cube said, which I don't know why. I was too young to say, yo, this is really weird. But it's just a discipline. And all I hear when I hear black people say that, the other 10% of it is that people will say, oh, it doesn't mean as much to me to get rid of it. Like, it doesn't affect me. So if I hear someone say, it's like, it's like, okay, so you're not going to change anything that doesn't affect you emotionally. Mm-hmm. But as we see with Mark Lamont, and as we see with a lot of black people who act like it don't affect them, let the wrong person say it. Mm. Let the wrong tone come up. And all of a sudden, that word that you said didn't mean anything, all of a sudden means a lot.
A lot.
Just ditch it. Jews did the same thing. Every group that you're looking at that you consider a tribe, all of them have done it. Black people are only not doing it because we're giving the excuse.
And let me give you some additional context, right? Mark Lamont Hill is on a podcast known as the Joe Budden Podcast, where they say that word incessantly. Yes. I'm pretty sure I've heard Mark say it a couple of times on said podcast. But now on Piers Morgan's show, he ain't trying to hear that from some woman.
Hypocritical. It's hypocritical.
You know what I'm saying? So,
because again, why are you selective? What you're basically turning into, which is really effed up in a way, because this was something that you really think, and I just want black people to, hear this scenario. You really think that when we was going through slavery and they was calling us people and all this stuff, that white people cared if we was friends with them or not? Like, do you really think that? Like, so the fact that you make this type of like gang initiation thing where it's just like, if you cool enough, do you understand that standard and that bar is so low and it makes no sense because no one's gauging? What kind of friendship does the white man have to make? Y'all didn't give Eminem that. And Eminem is, I don't care what anyone say, he the best rapper in my book, other than the greats who have passed away. He the best one. Y'all didn't give him that pass, and he is more black than a lot of black people I know. He know more of hip hop than a lot of black people I know. Y'all don't give him the pass, so what is the gauge or what white people can say it?
What is the barometer?
There is none. They're just saying, oh, if he's with this person or if they just happen to be in this crowd. Like, yo, Joe Rogan in my book can't use it either. I don't care if he has the #1 podcast or not. He can't use it, but neither can Mark. Mark can't use it either. I don't care how black he is and how pro-black he is.
If we're really progressive, everybody gets to say it. If we're really progressive, right? It's like, no, man, don't worry, you ain't got no power.
Desensitize it, right? Yeah, make it available for everybody. The same way they made
available for white people.
Out of all the words that will be censored on this podcast, bitch will not be censored. Why? Because they desensitize the word. Mm-hmm. Now if you say, hey, listen, you a bad bitch, no one's looking at it like, yo, you calling her a dog still. Like, that's still
if a guy says that, it's like, hey, don't,
selective outrage. Oh, that.
You ain't got no rage. I don't know you ain't got to call me no bad bitch.
It was never a good word. It is very rare in history you will take a bad word and turn it into a good word.
You can't say that. You don't know me like that.
Didn't they take the swastika? This is like a quick wrap up to that. They took the swastika. The swastika I heard was like a Hindu symbol or something. It meant peace and love.
Okay.
And they turned it into the castration and the genocide of Jews. Right? That's the swastika. Right? I'll put it here. They do that. It's so much easier to take a good thing and make it bad in the sake of righteousness. Like Hitler said, we're doing the world a favor. So we're going to take this thing that means peace, and it really means peace for the world, and we're going to use it as our attack on Jews. Name me one time in history where some term was bad from the get-go, and they empowered it. Never. It's like, yo, if you destroy the evil, cast it out with the bathwater. Like, you're not... Why you got to take it and make it good? You could just say, yo, it was never good and we don't want nothing to do with it, and that's it. That is it. What camaraderie? What? And remember we were talking about Kendrick Lamar thing? I was like, the only thing I don't like is that he's too much. That's the only commentary I have. Because he's so smart.
You really don't need it.
He don't need, he's too smart. He could call brother and sis and everything that he said there. Mm-hmm. So it goes to show, wrapping back up to the point of that, and then we can get our thoughts on Camelo. Because that's been a progressive story as well. It goes back to the thing of black people not taking enough accountability. And I'm going to tell y'all what my honest opinion, we too lazy. We'll sit here and be like, you know what, well, I had it around for 40 years. I had it around for 30 years. So, as much as we like to say we're a people in a tribe, that's very selfish.
Yeah.
To not know what the ramification of that word is for everyone else in the world and how they treat us.
Yeah. That's
very selfish. Stop using it. For white people, no, there is no white. I don't care what y'all come up with. Please spam the comment if you're all the bots. Oh, what about this? What about that? Tell me about it. Give me the legal because I can go to the African American History Museum and pull up the documentation that lawyers were using. Please bring it up. Oh, well, there's a news article where you call this a cracker. A news article? Listen, this transcript gonna have in it. What that means is a transcript on a podcast that you have the choice to listen or not listen to. How about being called a when you're getting sold? There is nothing that you can do to escape that. You can turn off this podcast. Man, I call you and triggered you. Yeah, we done. Bye. We ain't listening to that. She racist. Okay, that's a choice. You were called nigger on the block. You were called on the block naked. You were called when they were raping you. You were called when they took your child. You were called when they were spreading your legs apart with horses and ripping men in half. You were called in that. You were called when you went for a job. You were called when you was going to a bank and they didn't think black people could make money. That is when he was called. When we were trying to buy a house, he was called.
And by the way, if you're feeling a little angry and turned up with the cursed set of references just in that last couple of seconds of her talking, then maybe you should think about how you feel Just saying, period. If that made you feel like, wow, why is she saying it like that? Why are you saying it?
Because the word never had good context. It is meant to rise something up in you because for far too long we didn't get rid of it.
It's supposed to make you feel.
Let's just have a hypothetical scenario. Black people, this is for you. Is there any possibility to where we get rid of this word and we start to feel just a little bit freer? Just a little bit. It's a word, but what they say, life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's just a possibility. So that's my challenge. Like I said, I do it in my own life. This is the most I've ever used in the last 12, 13, 14 years. But I'm doing it to make a statement of, if it's meant to get you riled up and it's meant to get you passionate, is because just like every other group that had their own slur, their own derogatory statement, we are just 70 years behind the trend of what every ethnic group has done to get their power back. They have never taken on the term of an enemy. Ever. That is mental enslavement. That is pride.
Yeah.
You thinking you're going to take an enemy's tactics and make it work for you. What? No. The enemy has outsmarted you. He already know what that word would do to you. And it's the same thing with bitch too. So my sisters, no, you don't look like the bad when you call yourself a bad. Just so you know the right. I'm just letting you know. All the bad bees, all the bad bees I know that would be bad don't consider themselves, or none of their sisters. It don't be in their vernacular. Period. So please stop. I don't know if it's an insecurity. I think it comes down to like insecurity as I'm doing coaching. It comes down to insecurity. You want to belong to something. You want to have that community, and it's just like that community accepts you. It's an edge. It's a false confidence, right? Like if I call myself a and no one else can call me the that I didn't call myself. Do you see how self-destroying that is? That's like a self-destroying prophecy. You are devaluing yourself just because the chance of some man or woman out there calling you a first. That's crazy. You're not supposed to be the first one to talk death into yourself.
Say it again.
You're not supposed to be the first one to talk death into yourself. If you call yourself before the world call you, how do you even know you're going into that world? What if you live your whole life and never hear it? Ain't that a possibility? I mean, isn't that what our ancestors fought for? They were slaves, but they lived for what? The possibility of freedom. Isn't it a possibility that some of our children's children will never hear that word? Would you ever tell your son or your daughter to call themselves first? The life is cruel, son. Be called it now. No, I've never seen a loving home ever do that. I've never seen a loving home call women first in the home for what?
Right.
Especially if you believe the world's going to give it to you somewhere. Wait until that chance happens. If the chance happens, we come down, we sit and talk about it. Yeah, there is some people who, they haven't evolved yet. So they're looking at you like property. They're looking at you like how the old school way was. But you will never get it here. You'll never get it home. No. We speak life. So that's just a possibility of, again, Black people. I'm giving a challenge. So maybe we can clip this part and make it a meme. I'm giving a challenge. For 1 month. No, you know what? We'll call it Niggless Week. For 1 month, for 1 week, I challenge everybody not to use the N-word, period. And we'll call it Bitchless Week, too. So we're going to have a Niggless Week and a Bitchless Week. And for 1 week, I ask you not to entertain any material, any media, and don't say it to your friends and family. Not with your friends, not with your homegirls, not with your homies, not with your brothers, not with... Nope. Just 1 week. If you could do it for 1 week, what they say, a good habit is built in 21 days, maybe we should make it a month. But you know what I just said? Black people be like, yeah, that's too difficult. It's too difficult to have you stop saying 2 words? And then you wonder about me not getting further. Like, I think you should just say 2 words. Stop saying 2 words. But you're wondering why we still think we enslaved?
These 2 words.
Oh, Lord. Come on, guys. We can do this. I give that challenge. I'm just me. My identity is Arian Aparicio. That's what I've always been. That's what I always will be. Whatever the world put on me, good luck. At the end of the day, we all have the power to choose what we want. Like, we can be the people we really want to see. But it starts here. That's why I've been called. Even when the people call me bitch and nigga, I do not return it. I'm being the example I want to see. And you know what it does? It makes me not take it personal. You didn't call me because I called you. You called me because of your own little thing that you got going on.
Yeah.
So now I can empathize with you. I can start to try to understand you. So the flip side of this, that's a clip. We're gonna put that out there as a challenge for real. Mm-hmm. The second thing was the Carmelo Anthony case. Have you heard about that? About the black kid stabbing the white kid?
Not until no.
Okay, so long story short, a black kid was involved in a track meet. They're both athletes, and Carmelo Anthony is sitting in a track tent, and the white kid, I'm forgetting his name. I apologize. I'll put it somewhere here. Mm-hmm. He comes in with his brother, and I'm guessing it's off the meet or something like that, because that's what Henry was kind of telling me the backstory of it. And he basically tries to get him to move. Like, move out the way, like, move out of the tent. You don't belong here. This is for the athletes. Fight ensues. It gets heavy. And within, like, 30 seconds, Carmelo walks in, goes into his book bag, pulls out a knife and stabs him. And then runs. He runs away. The brother is saying... Now, here's the thing that's interesting about this story. Most obvious fact, right? White kid gets stabbed by black kid. Right. The white kid's father says not to make it about race. Mm-hmm. Even when losing his son, he says, I implore everyone not to make this a race issue. This is not a race issue. So I find it very funny that everyone else has made it a race issue. Mm-hmm. Again, I think people are just going to profit where they can profit. Right. So Carmelo now also has a GoFundMe, which is why Piers Morgan put these two statements together. Yeah, because Carmelo Anthony also has a platform that has also raised $600,000. Oh. And Mark Lamont's argument to this was, one is enabling the racist behavior of a white woman, calling a 5-year-old nigger. Mm-hmm. And the other is a fund for proper defense. So people are basically raising him the money for the legal team of his family because they believe it was self-defense. Mm-hmm. And they don't want them to go through the courts and say like, oh, this, that, and the third. So the argument is that people who are funding Carmelo Anthony are funding a murderer. Right. Which should not be a thing. So the race element comes of it too. Obviously a black kid stabs a white kid. Then they're saying that they get away with it, which is what the racist white woman was saying, right? Like, oh yeah, a black murderer gets a fund too, and he makes $600,000. And Mark is just like, yeah, but that's for proper defense and legal fees because the family's going to need it in order to figure out to go through the whole case. Long story short, that's the context of it. And as you know, like, how do you resonate with it?
I appreciate the victim's father saying, hey, let's not make this a racial thing. This is an isolated incident with these two young people. My question is this. Is there evidence to support the claim for Anthony that this was self-defense?
Yes. So it's washy right now. I don't think we'll know until court, obviously. Mm-hmm. But there is the fight that ensued that they're saying, well, we don't know how big that fight got, if he felt like he had to protect himself or not. The thing that's damning, and I'm not legal counsel or anything like that, but God knows I love my Law and Order, and I love my crime networks and everything like that. It doesn't look pretty for him, only because he brought a weapon on school property, and this happened on school property. Yeah. So even if there was a claim of self-defense, it would have been more so on a fist-on-fist, and not him just fighting and they said it lasted like less than 30 seconds. Like that's how fast everything happened. And the brother didn't realize his brother got stabbed until he was basically like on the floor. So that's why I say it doesn't look good in terms of the case of self-defense, but I can get why what I've heard going around is that maybe the victim, was bullying Carmelo. And that's why he felt the need to have to take a knife to the thing, or maybe it was like a bully vengeance story where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna get back at him because he's been so much time. What, they're like 17, 18, like and it's sad too because the potential, they were both like star athletes. They're like, I think the victim was 18, 17, and Carmelo's the same age. So I think it's just a tragedy all around. I agree with you. I completely back the victim's father because that takes so much strength to know that you lost your kid and still have the foresight to know that people are going to make this something that's not. And it's just like, the tragedy is that two young people basically lost their lives in the same day. Because Carmelo, honestly, just from a opinion, I think Carmel is not going to make this defense. I don't think he's going to get away with it. And get away with it sounds bad, but what I'm saying is that I think he's going to be proven guilty. There's no, in my mind, but I'm not a lawyer or a judge, there's no way to justify self-defense by bringing a weapon on school property. You already know this. That's rules for expulsion. So there's no way to me that you're thinking that unless there's context to it. Maybe that the victim was bullying him, or maybe that, he did something. Because I've seen some people get away with that as well, like plead insanity or whatever the case may be. But right now, as it stands, I don't see him winning a self-defense case. And no matter what happens, that's a stigma that, let's just say he is proven innocent.
Right.
That's a stigma that he lives for with the rest of his life.
His life is forever changed with that.
It's forever changed. It's just like 2 kids lost their life that day. All the potential they had, the athleticism, the sponsorships, the scholarships, the stories.
It's tainted.
One is completely in the ground. You know what I mean? So you don't need to go to race to know how tragic this is. If you just look at 2 young people who lost the potential of great life, that's as far as you need to go. Why do you need to make it racist to make it more impactful? Like, you don't. You can just look at 2 young men, no matter what color they were. And this is what I meant with us being more accountable and us becoming more empathetic as people. Mm-hmm. You don't need to know the race to know that 2 kids just lost their lives. Like, you don't. That should be sad if you're on the other side of the world in Australia.
Right.
That didn't happen in your country, but damn, that's 2 young people that will never have like a normal life.
This is sensationalism of it all. Just to throw that in.
That's what you think it is? Yeah, like just pulling the race into it?
Yeah.
What do you feel about how the victim's father told people not to make it about race, but that's all that's been told about this story?
Well, again, I think it goes back to what we were saying before. People make things about race in certain times if it suits them. And then other times it's swept under the rug just out of convenience. So especially when it comes to violence, right? Like violence and death, right? Because we often associate racism a lot of times between black and white people involving violence and death. Yeah. Police brutality. Yeah. The whole slave trade, violence and death, right? So again, these 2 could have been best friends for all we know, and they just got into the worst fight ever. Yes. That won't matter. That won't be central to the fact that one person was black, another person was white. And it honestly, for some people, conflates all the stereotypes, all the deepest, darkest fears about dealing with somebody of the opposite race towards you. It's like, yeah, it jumps the shark. It's beyond that isolated incident. It's like, yeah, these white people are gonna kill us. And then for white people, it's like, oh, these black people are threatening. It just feeds.
And kill us.
It feeds 2 narratives simultaneously. There's always been a stereotype that belittles that relationship between white people and black people.
Especially when white and black people had to get together for us to be where we are.
It's a reason why people question interracial relationships and what the objective is of that.
Listen, I've been there too.
Yeah. Me too.
I've been there. The Dr. Umar, hey, listen, don't date the snow bunny. God didn't make
you're not to be trusted.
But
again, it's all circling around. It's all circling around each other. It is that tornado of distrust, of hate, of segregation. It's all circling each other. It's just popping up in different places, and
when you're engulfed by it, you really believe it. Mm-hmm. Like there was a time where I thought Dr. Umar's word was law. Like it's just like, oh, like yeah, we are going through a crisis, and we're really stepping out on each other. I'm like, damn. When you take it back, you're just like, what is the percentage of black people not dating with black people? It's very low. So if you're basically putting that upper echelon as the people who don't date outside, it wouldn't matter. Like it's just like it's still like less than 10% go outside and do anything with another race. But the whole thing is that you're still feeding into that stereotype of like, why does that matter? And you're basically saying it's because, black people need to keep their power because everyone's against us. But I'm just like, but then you're also doing what? You're forcing everyone else to be against you. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to integrate with everyone. You're basically saying, hey, listen, in a country that is majority not you, that you could make this own little isolated thing or whatever. And the only reason why I've seen Chinese towns, I see Chinatown in a lot of states I go to. Chinese people have China.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and they'll say, oh, we try to uplift Africa. It's like, dude, Africa had its time in the sun. Africa need to get Africa together.
Facts.
So you're sitting here doing this whole little runaround thing, like you said, of it feeds this narratives and these stereotypes when really America was meant to be great because it took the opposite sides that no one would think had middle ground and it made middle ground. Dr. Martin Luther King is loved by both white and black people because he said it's character. Donald Trump quotes him all the time and everyone thinks Donald Trump is racist. Fine, let's say he's racist. He's still quoting Dr. Martin Luther King better than a lot of black people I know.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Oh, Dr. Martin King only cared about empowering black people. How? He talked about character. Character is not subjected to one race of people or one gender. It's just who that person is. Let it be off your character, off your moral, off of you being a good person. Let it be based off that. Christianity talks about that, right, with Jesus. Let it be based off the character and the value that you bring to the table, not if you, what color, what does that mean? Color, what your hair look like, why you have freckles or not, why you ginger. Like, it's just like, it doesn't matter any of these things. And I feel like this is a dot, and I'm glad, because I wouldn't be a coach if I didn't believe this inherently. I believe this is the death of it. Because I've seen more, and this is the hope for me, I've seen more people kind of think this is odd. I've seen Cat Williams come up and say, hey, listen, you're a racist in 2024, you're a weirdo, because no one's thinking this anymore. I saw a like tattoo that says if you're like transphobic, racist, albious, sexist, or homophobic or something, that you're trash. That's like the thing. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's just like, there is no reason to really hate people for these traits. There's really no reason for it. We're not in that life anymore, but I feel like the people who are holding on to it have an ulterior agenda. Yeah. And that agenda is to be a part, it's kind of sad, it's a community that they've caught. So they don't want to let it go. Dr. Umar don't want to let go of the Pan-African, even though he had all the money to go and do all the things he's talking about. Right. He's like, you had the money to make the school. You had the money to go to Africa and try to build. You could have been some African country's prime minister by now.
What's the audience? Yeah.
It's the audience and it's the attention. So, yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying with Carmelo Anthony. I agree that it's feeding these two types of stereotypes, which is very dangerous. Like, the mindsets are very dangerous. But it's up to us as a people. I do not put this on Trump. I do not put this on his cabinet. I do not put this on any U.S. government official at all. This is coming down to two cultures that coexist in America and the people who don't subscribe to just being in that culture.
Facts.
I'm not just black. I'm not. If you even look at my ancestry, I'm probably not all black. But if someone sees me as black, I can argue for or against black. I can do it because I've been identified as that. So I can see where black people have to be accountable, and I can see where black people have been misused. I can see both sides, but I can also see it for white people too. Because people used to think I was mixed. So it's just like, now I had to learn that side, because I'm just like, oh, people think I'm a half-breed. Right. So let me start learning white people's strength and stuff like that, and why they didn't think. It's all empathy. It's all empathy. Like, we are here because for some reason, some white guy and some black guy and some white girl and some black girl became friends. We all here because of that. Yeah. So we have to choose the history that we want to pay homage to. I think so. I think we have to choose the history we want to pay. That's the history I want to choose homage to, the humanity history. The thing that has us all empathize and having middle ground with each other. But yeah, that's the two things right now. And I can only pray again. My prayer goes out to our prayers, go out to the victim of Carmelo Anthony's case. Again, we will put the name on the screen. I don't know if they have a GoFundMe, but I do know Carmelo Anthony has a GoFundMe for the defense. I don't know how that's going. This is all evolving stories, by the way, so we will update you as like the episodes go forward. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I issued a challenge.
Right, let's see it, man.
I issued a challenge. Let's see how many people medicate.
A week off, at least a week.
At least a week. Let's see what happens. Just anytime someone say bitch, people gonna get mad. They're gonna be like, damn, it's all Kendrick say. So I'm like, yo, just for 1 week, though. Hey. Stay away from it. Hey, that's my. Oh, gotta turn them off. That's it. Listen, we'll see. And no, Kendrick, I'm not coming at you. So please don't be like, yo, there's a drop of my listeners. What happened? Like, this is not like for you. This is just, I think, what the culture needs. Yeah. It needs a cleansing of this. It needs to know that it doesn't need these words to be empowered. Yeah, and then hopefully it'll open up. Hopefully it'll open up a bigger conversation. What else don't we need to be empowered? Right. What else have we given our power to that we don't really need? Maybe clubbing?
Maybe
the slut walk that you was talking about. Maybe that. Maybe the BBLs. Maybe the wigs. Maybe like we can go in. Like, yo, girls, take all your wigs off for 1 week.
Right.
I don't care how good that lace front look. Take it off.
Take it off.
Take it off. Man, stop dyeing your hair and show your grays. Go ahead, show them wisdom. That's what I call grays. They like, this not wisdom, this stress. Show that stress. Look, I got my grades so in the front. My grades are so in the front.
Oh God.
And then if you want to make it feel that it's not gray, it's silver. You got metal, bro. That's silver trade at what? Like $1.20 an ounce right now.
Oh yes. Yeah, we mentioned Kendrick earlier, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll tie that in because I mean, that's it for the most part as far as the Geek episode, man. We just gave you a pretty much rounded episode.
Yes.
And
thank you again for this is us at our core. We are geeks at our core. And
it's definitely that. But speaking of geekdom and all that other good stuff, I'm going to be fully indulging that for a higher power, for a higher level of consciousness, for a higher purpose on May 17th on a Saturday. Because I will be doing this little thing called Who Wanna Rap Now Volume 1. It is both a mixtape. It is facilitated for a mixtape release concert. And I'm hoping it's actually going to turn into a series where it's going to be Who Wanna Rap Now Volume 1, Volume 2, Who Wanna Rap Now in Philly, Who Wanna Rap Now in Europe, that type of thing. That's where we're looking at it, long term. But Who Wanna Rap Now was really me uttering that phrase when I was doing this Fuel freestyle. I was flipping Eminem's Fuel for a writing, recording exercise that I just wanted to kind of get into the booth and sharpen up lyrically and vocally, and it turned into a whole mixtape, right? So we're going to be celebrating that. But beyond that, that night is going to be celebrating lyricism, right? And in this particular case, lyricism from Christians, God-fearing people, spiritual, whatever the case may be, just a higher stream of consciousness and spirituality with lyricism. And the reason why I mentioned and tied it back to Kendrick, because we've seen Kendrick, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, no matter what side of the fence you're on, whether you're advocating for Kendrick like DJ Head or you're advocating for Drake like Maul from Rory and Maul. Right, as far as who is the best lyricist.
Watch that interview, please. Go.
It's hysterical.
It really is,
right? So whether you're like on either side of the fence, the one thing that definitely became a focal point over the last 2 years, past the 50th anniversary of hip hop, is lyricism becoming more of the forefront. I have my top 5s and top 10s. Ari has hers as well. One of the coolest things I've ever had in conversation with her was her naming Royce 5'9" as one of her favorite, if not her absolute favorite MC. And a lot of people don't necessarily mention Royce like that. They'll mention the Nas's, the Biggies, the J's, which, I get it. Common fare, the Jadakisses if you're from New York, the Fabs and stuff, but people don't mention guys like a Royce or a Tech Nine or a Lupe or a Black Thought or a Crooked Eye or King Crooked in that particular case as he changed his name. My point is that lyricism is just one of those things which is, if done well, it's a beautiful art form to communicate so many great ideas. Listen, we have a podcast, right, where we're talking and vocally expressing our opinions, our lessons, our challenges to the world. A lot of people have a problem speaking in front of people. A lot of people have an issue with reading and comprehension. It's not fundamental for some people. And the fact that I can do something fundamental and do something artistic with it, bend it, flip it, use devices, communicate ideas, themes, conventions, it's a beautiful thing that I try not to take for granted. And I use Kendrick because Kendrick is on a tour showing what top tier lyricism could look like across 20-something, 30-something odd songs in packed stadiums. Man, rap was a thing that you just heard on the block in the Bronx on Sedgwick Ave. Now it's at AT&T Stadium, packed house where people are gathered to hear somebody talk rhythmically for 2 hours, because that's the power of that musical device. Yes. So I say all that to say that that's something that I want to bring to Who Wanna Rap Now. It's going down Saturday May 17th, 2025 at 6 p.m. It's going to be gathering some of the best lyricists and songwriters from the area who claim Christianity as their faith device. Ariana and I are going to be co-hosting in a lot of ways, because we're going to be bringing your DeProgrammed podcast to the building, to the event space, to the vibes. And we're going to be front and center. And I'm really excited for Ari to experience this, because she's really never been to a concert before. So this officially will be her first concert. So
I cannot wait. There's not another artist I would want to see more.
Yeah, I pray that we do right by her in that sense, you know.
It's shaping up to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. So we're gonna make sure that this is out before it comes out. If you are a fan of great rapping, great lyricism, great poetry, great spoken word, great thought-provoking messaging that is not the whatevers, it's not the dribble you hear on radio and playlists. It's like, yo, I really want to hear, just like you would want to hear a great singer or a great musician. You're about to see at least 10 of the greatest MCs you can catch independently in your area of New York City. If you live in the New York City area, bring it. Don't miss this. Tickets are at eventbrite.com. $15 in advance. It's $25 at the door. So I would suggest that I'm not mad at you paying $25 at the door. I mean, that's a lot. But if you can...
We take our profit margin.
We'll take our profit margin. But I would encourage you.
Early access.
Yeah, man. Go for it. Anything you want to add quickly to that?
That this show is going to be way worth... It's worth more than a $25 ticket. So
they usually are, man. If I got anything to say to it.
If there's anything I can say about Conquest as a partner in this podcast, as a best friend in real life, he puts his heart and soul into everything he does. And his perfectionism comes out when it is a production of his own. So you are going to get a masterful show. I've seen it. I've heard what people have said about it, even though I've never attended one. Mm-hmm. Just the people who came out to support him just in his production of it. It's just like when you have that energy and when people know what you bring to the table, they are quick to help you. They are quick to see. They know being a part of this with someone is also going to elevate them too. Right. And that's all this energy that has been a part of Who Wanna Rap Now has just been people feeling like, wow, this is going to elevate our spirit. This is going to make us feel good. Like it's going to be a celebration of Who Wanna Rap Now, the lyricism, but also birthday.
Right, yes.
Also,
my 50th birthday celebration.
Also,
50th episode. Yes, that's an award show. I'll be awarding at least 2 awards that night to artists who I feel have been impactful in the Christian hip hop space in the city and even beyond. So I think it's important to give flowers while they can still smell them. So I want to make sure that they do that. So, my conventions or my productions are wild conventions. They integrate so many things. They all hold us.
It's a feel-good event.
But they work.
It's a feel-good event. Yeah, that's why all of it works together, because all those things you just said makes everyone feel good too.
Yeah. And hey, I'm going to say it plainly. Yeah, it's a hip-hop concert. It's going to be great performances, great displays of musicianship, and live renditions. But hey, man, depending on what happens that night, it's a lifesaver, like literally and figuratively. You know what I'm saying? So if you're open to that, if you want something that could be potentially life-changing for you, you may get more than what you bargained for, and that's a good thing. I like to think, you know what I'm saying? But at the very least, you're gonna get a top-tier show as to the best of my ability, to the best of our ability. So
which, like I said, makes every dollar of that $25 well spent. Mm-hmm. IMO. Thank you so much for tuning in. See, we telepathic. So thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Again, we hope you appreciate this episode, enjoy this episode. Mm-hmm. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with anyone that you feel like is a geek like us and can, relate.